right. Welcome. This is Trey. I want to welcome you to the masculine throne. Today we are talking about women. How to get women to run you down. In other words, how to get women to chase you. Such a beautiful topic. So, okay. How do you get women to run you down? Well, first, you got to ask yourself, why do you want women to run you down? Why do you want women to chase you? This is important because the next thing I'm going to ask you is, do you want women to run you down because you want them to give you what your parents didn't give you as a child? It's a pretty deep question, right? Why do you want women to chase you? Why is getting women so important to you? Is it because you are whole and fulfilled and abundant and full of self-love and you want to share that with a woman? Or is it because you feel like something's missing? You feel like you're missing out on love. You're missing out on that unconditional love that your parents didn't give you. Right? Are you seeking the woman because you need the woman to tell you that you're good enough, to tell you that she loves you, to tell you that she needs you, to tell you that you're the best thing that ever happened to her? Because without getting that validation, you feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not worthy. You feel like you're not whole. Right? These are questions you need to ask yourself. Well, here's the truth, right? If you are trying to get women because you're trying to fill a void, or because you feel empty, or because you're lacking in self-worth and self-esteem, you're going to repel them. You're going to repel women. Neediness, right? When you need something, that is actually that is the most unattractive quality that a man can have, is neediness. Feeling like you need something. And it's unattractive not just to women, but to men. It's very unattractive to women because women are a lot more emotional than men. So when you trigger an emotion in her, it's a lot more intense than what a man would experience. So if you trigger attraction in a woman, it can be very intense. Now, if you trigger repulsion in a woman, that can be very intense, right? So, here's what you need to do, or need to understand, is whatever you want, you must first give. And the act of giving creates the belief that you have it. So neediness is unattractive, right? Neediness is, I need something. I need to get something. So the opposite of that would be I want to give, right? And what I'm saying here is the act of giving creates the belief that you must have that thing. Otherwise, how would you be able to give it? Right? So if you want to experience love, you must give love. Right? So instead of having the mindset of, oh, I need love, I need this, I need that, the mindset should be, let me go out and give love today. Let me go out and spread love. You want joy? Let me go out and spread joy. And the act of doing that will create the states within you of having it, because you're basically telling yourself, the act of giving something tells you that you must have it. Otherwise, how are you able to give it? You see what I'm saying? And actually, the more you give, the more you cultivate that belief that you must already have. Right? And this will make you more attractive, because now you're going to the other side of the spectrum. Instead of being needy, you're being giving. Right? Right? You're basically demonstrating that you already have that thing that you thought that you needed. And so now you're giving it, and a woman can now benefit from your presence. You see? Because you have something to give. And it's that emotion that you were trying to get. So here's something that I learned and basically changed my life. You can cultivate emotions and feelings within. We've been given this lie. It's a lie that you need something outside of you to feel good. It's an illusion created to make you consume things to fill that hole. So, you know, these advertisers, these companies or whatever, look at their ads. It's all designed to make you feel like you're missing something. You know, buy this thing and you'll be attractive. Buy this thing and you'll feel good. Buy this thing and it tastes good, and it this and that, and it makes you happy, and it makes you this and makes you that. But no, there's no ad that's telling you, oh, by the way, you have the power to cultivate any emotion or feeling you want within. There's no ad that's saying, give and you shall receive. There's no ad saying that the act of giving creates the belief and the state of mind and the emotional state of already possessing that thing. There's no ad telling you that, because if you knew that, then you wouldn't need to buy anything. So I'm giving you like some truth here, some very powerful truth. Okay, so neediness. What is neediness? Well, it is basically a result of feeling incomplete, right? It's a result of feeling incomplete, lonely, lacking, and empty. Now look at these words I just said. Incomplete, lonely, lacking, and empty. Do you think that if you are demonstrating that you are feeling incomplete, lonely, lacking, empty, do you think that's going to be attractive to women? Do you think women are going to chase a guy who is coming across as incomplete, lonely, lacking, and empty? Only type of woman that would chase a guy like that would be a woman that's probably feeling that as well. So now you have two needy people coming together and just creating a bunch of neediness together. Very unhealthy relationship, right? And to be honest with you, from my experience, even like a needy woman, in some cases she may get with a needy guy, but she's actually more likely to get with a guy who's not needy, because the fact that she's needy means that she needs someone who has something to give, which wouldn't be the needy guy. So even in a lot of those cases, a needy woman would actually go for, maybe the guy is needy, but not as needy as her. You know what I mean? So he at least has a little something to give. But the point I'm making here is neediness is just not attractive, right? So if you want women to chase you, got to be on the opposite side of the spectrum of neediness. You got to be whole. So stepping into manhood will require you to become emotionally independent by facing your childhood traumas and overcoming them. This neediness is coming from childhood trauma. Not getting the love that you wanted from your parents, right? Feeling abandoned, or feeling like you weren't approved, feeling like you weren't good enough, feeling like you didn't meet your parents' standards, stuff like that. That is what's causing the neediness. It was you haven't faced that, you haven't dealt with that, you haven't overcome that, you haven't come to terms with that, you haven't reframed it. You have to face that. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to haunt you until you face it, right? You have to face that emotion and sit with it and come to terms with it, put a bigger perspective on it. I always like to give the example, when I'm speaking to clients, I tell them, one of the things I had to do is I had to learn to forgive, any feelings of not being loved or treated the way that I wanted to be treated by my parents. I had to learn that, they did the best that they could, right? If they could have done better, they would have done better. But in that moment, at that time, they did the best that they could. and I had to learn to forgive them, right? I had to learn to understand, have some maturity, a mature outlook on the situation. As a child, you're not able to understand why you're not getting the love you expect, or the whatever, the approval, whatever. But when you grow to an adult, you can take the bigger perspective and see it in a different light, and come to terms. And maybe you may have to cry over it. I remember when I faced, these different traumas, I had to cry, you know, because you have to release the emotions around that thing. And actually when you release those emotions, you feel so good. It feels very good, because it's like there was a block in your ability to express yourself, and that block will be released, and you'll be a lot freer, less inhibited in your communication. So emotional independence will make you a magnet to women. You become a source of emotional stimulation. So a man who is emotionally independent basically would have emotions to give, right? Because when you're emotionally dependent, you're seeking. You're like, okay, I'm lacking in a feeling, I'm lacking in an emotion, I need to go and get it. Whereas the guy who's independent, he can cultivate it within. And if he has the ability to cultivate it within, then he can also cultivate it to the level where it's like overflowing. And when you get to that point, the only thing you want to do is give. Like that's the only thing left to do. Like once you get to a place of wholeness, and you're truly happy, truly in love with yourself, in love with your life, all you're going to want to do is spread that, because you're going to want others to feel that. And that is when women chase you. That is when women run you down. It's when they realize that you have the emotions within you that they want to experience. So yeah, if you're seeking approval from women, it's because you never received approval from your parents. But the solution is actually to give yourself approval, because you're a man and you don't need anyone's approval but your own. That is the great thing about becoming a man, is that once you become a man, you don't have to, you're done like with the whole, oh, I have to listen to my mom, and I gotta ask my mom what to do, and I gotta get guidance from my dad, and this and that. I mean, if you want to still, get some advice and insight from your parents, that's great. But you're independent. Once you become a man, you are officially independent. Like you don't need to be getting anything from your parents anymore. It's up to you to go out there and establish your manhood, and create and build your kingdom, and establish your throne. There's you have to, like, basically, the best way for me to put this is, you have to kill the boy, right? The boy, you have to destroy your inner boy, and truly embrace your manhood. And to truly embrace your manhood is to become fully independent, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in every way, shape, and form. That's what it means to be a man. So think king, and think kingdom. A king goes out and builds his kingdom, right? He's not going to his mom, hey mom, I lost the battle today, can you cuddle me? That's not what the king does. The king goes into battle, and if he loses the battle, he learns his lesson. He builds better weapons, better tools, comes up with a better strategy, and goes to battle again until he conquers, So that's what it means to be a man. Quickly, I want to touch on the bad boy versus the nice guy thing. So we all know that bad boys tend to do well with women, right? If there's a archetype that's getting ran down by women, getting chased by women, it's the bad boy. Well, what is the bad boy? It's simple. The bad boy it's an attitude. It's basically the dude who says, I don't need anyone's approval. I'm gonna go and do what I'm gonna do, and that's the end of it, right? The nice guy is the opposite of that. He says, I need people's approval because I don't feel good about myself. I don't trust myself, and I'm not good enough. That's the nice guy. And so he's basically camouflaging his lack of self-esteem and self-worth by just being nice. But he's not really nice. He's just trying to cover up for the fact that he doesn't value himself, you know? He doesn't think he has any value. So he's like, okay, I don't have any value, so I have to be nice to people. And that's what the nice guy is. He's being nice out of desperation, not because he wants to. So, yeah, the bad boy, is emotionally independent, right? It's the attitude that makes him attractive. So, the idea of being, one archetype or expression of a man is like you can be a nice person, but you want to have an edge, and that edge comes from having the attitude of I am emotionally independent. I don't need anyone's approval, anyone's validation. My opinion is the most valuable thing in my world, in my kingdom, right? And that's the end of it. And so that's what adds that edge to your character. And women can sense that you become a challenge, because now you've become like a rock, right? You've become a grounded masculine man, and so the woman will naturally go into her feminine, because that's what happens when a man is being masculine. A woman naturally goes into her feminine. When a man is acting feminine, a woman is basically forced to go into her masculine, because someone has to be masculine, right? Or else you're just gonna have too feminine, a chaotic situation. If it's just feminine energy, it's just gonna be chaos. So someone has to go into their masculine, and the woman doesn't want to do that because that's not her natural state. So what do I mean by feminine and masculine, right? The feminine is soft, submissive, compliant, wants to lean on someone, strong. It seeks stability, seeks safety, seeks attention, right? This is give you some like a description of feminine energy, so you get understanding of what that is. Now the masculine, which is what you want to tap into, is hard. It's dominant, it's challenging, it's independent, grounded, secure, self-sufficient, right? So that is what you want to tap into as a masculine man. Now, neediness is essentially trying to get a woman to fill your emotional void, a need that your parents didn't fill, right? If you look at the feminine energy, you can actually see that it kind of implies that neediness is okay. And that's what kind of is interesting about the feminine energy. When a woman is needy, it's not really unattractive. I mean, if she's super needy, then yeah, it can get there. But like, a man actually wants a woman to be needy to some extent, right? Like, a man wants a woman to like be like, yeah, my man can take care of me or whatever. Like, it feels good as a man. I think it's a natural thing. I also think part of it is programming, right? Like, the Disney movies kind of create this thing like, the guy is supposed to go and rescue the princess, blah blah blah. But I think even without the Disney movies, there's just like a certain thing that when you tap into your masculinity, like, you want to be like that leader, that protector of your loved ones. You want people to depend on you, because it that's what it means to be strong and powerful, right? You're able to protect those you love. But as a masculine man, it's not attractive for you to be needy, because they look at what the feminine is. The feminine is soft, submissive, compliant, wants to lean on someone strong, seeks stability, seeks safety, seeks attention. So imagine that's what the feminine is all about. And then you as a man, you're needy. The feminine is not going to be attracted to a needy man, because look at what the feminine is. It's soft, submissive, compliant, wants to lean on. So you think a feminine woman is going to want to be soft with a needy man? She's going to be submissive to a needy man, compliant to a needy man, lean on a needy man, seek stability. A needy man is not stable. He's needy. That means if he doesn't get what he needs, he's gonna break, right? He's gonna be weak. He's gonna, so it's just not attractive. It repels a woman. So it's, yeah, that whole neediness is basically you saying, hey, I'm empty and I need you to fill my void, the void that my parents didn't fill. So once again, you need to deal with your trauma. You need to forgive your parents. You have to forgive your parents, okay? You're not like, if you don't, then you're gonna bring that shit to all your relationships, and you're gonna experience unhealthy relationships. That's just the way it is. If you get to that point, and most situations you're just gonna repel the woman anyway. But if you do get in a relationship, just know it's gonna be unhealthy, because those needs, those childhood wounds, and traumas are gonna show up in a relationship. So yeah, you'll never have a healthy relationship with a woman until you become whole, right? And when I say whole, I mean mental and emotional harmony, independent of any external source, right? So once again, the needy man. I want you to really understand what a needy man is, so I can identify it whenever you start behaving needy. Anytime you find yourself trying to look for validation and approval from a woman to feel good about yourself, you're being needy. And it can show up in like these little small ways, right? Like little small ways. Like there's like a tendency to like get a little needy depending on the situation, especially if you're like found in situations where you're not as comfortable. You may find yourself being a little needy. And just notice it and catch it and be like, no, that's not me. I'm not the needy guy. Tap into your masculinity. Once you see that, it means you're going a little feminine, getting a little feminine. Tap into your masculinity. Matter of fact, drop the idea that you need someone to love you. This was one of the greatest things that I did. Once I started to realize that, once I started to enjoy being alone, man, I enjoy being alone. Like seriously, like that is most people don't enjoy being alone. And they say if you don't enjoy being alone, then that means you're in bad company. But yeah, you have to actually love yourself. And the way you get to that place is basically you start, when you love someone, what do, right? Like you basically you appreciate them, you respect them, you create good positive experiences for them. So that's what you need to do for yourself, right? You need to take care of yourself, respect yourself, do things that you love to do. And that's giving yourself self-love. The more you do that, the more you cultivate self-love. And then you start to realize you don't really need anyone to love you. You may want someone to love you, which is perfectly fine, but you don't need it, right? That means you can do without it. If your neediness pushes a woman away, the only way to reattract her or attract any woman is to become emotionally independent. So I give you a quick example of that. So basically, I remember in one of my relationships when it ended, the reason it ended because I became needy. I became needy, and the woman started losing attraction for me, and she was trying to, like, I guess, make it work, but you can't force attraction, right? If it's not there, it's not there. And I kind of was trying to make it work, and I couldn't make it work. And then what happened is when the relationship ended, my ego was like, okay, this girl, things aren't working out with her. I'll just go and get another girl. But the thing is, I couldn't get another girl because I was in a needy, like I was giving off needy subcommunication. Like I went out and tried to talk to girls, and I was getting rejected left and right. And I was like, what is going on here? Why are these girls don't want me? Like I'm still, in good shape, and I'm tall, and I'm this and I'm that. This is when I had a limited understanding of attraction. And I didn't realize that the problem was that I was needy, and the only way I was gonna become attractive again was to reclaim my emotional independence, which is what attracted that girl in the first place and whatever girls I was getting before her. So I had to I was able to overcome that and, get into other relationships after that. But it was only after I regained my emotional independence, right? Because until that happens, you're going to repel women. If you're in a needy state, you're going to repel women, and it's not going to change until you become emotionally independent. So, if the goal is to be emotionally independent and strong and masculine, all those things, you got to ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind, right? You need to, live a life that makes you feel whole, that makes you feel self-love, makes you feel strong and masculine and grounded. So you want to read books that make you feel strong and powerful and masculine and whole. Watch movies that make you feel strong. Pay attention, look at what you're feeding yourself. Sometimes you may pay attention to your music. Certain songs I won't listen to anymore. Even like I remember I was listening to a song the other day and the beat was good, but I had a hard time listening to the song because the message was kind of weak. The guy was basically talking about, oh, I need a woman and only one woman can satisfy me, and without your love I'm nothing. And I'm like, bro, like the beat is on point, but the lyrics, I can't vibe to this, bro, because I know it's going into my subconscious mind. Somebody might say, oh, bro, it's just a song. Bro, that shit is going in your subconscious mind, and it will show up when you least expect it. So be careful what you're feeding your mind. Also, how are you treating yourself? Are you giving yourself self-love? Are you doing the things you love to do? Are you living a life of passion and joy? Right? One of the primary ways to overcome neediness is to find your purpose and live a life of love and passion. Right? If you haven't, if this isn't clear yet, basically neediness is what repels women. So the opposite of neediness would be, non-needy, which another way to put that would be to be whole, which another way to put that would be mental and emotional harmony that is independent of anything external. Now, you can create that through finding your purpose and living a life of love and passion. In other words, falling in love with yourself and your life. Falling in love with becoming the best version of yourself and fulfilling your purpose. This will make you non-needy, right? The reason that a lot of guys are needy is because they don't have a life of purpose. They don't live a life of passion. And so they're trying to find purpose and passion in a woman. And the woman is not built for that, because when we looked at the feminine energy, we said that the feminine energy is soft, it's submissive, it's compliant, it's looking for someone to lean on. So how can that be the thing that you're looking to put all your your self-worth and your emotional stability and everything, you're putting all of that in a woman? That is extremely unhealthy, right? So you want to find fulfillment in the pursuits of your life's purpose, right? Your life's purpose, right? It's supposed to be greater than any one person, whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, doesn't matter. It's supposed to be grander than any individual. Okay. And the way you're overcoming your neediness is when you begin to have a take it or leave it attitude when it comes to women. So this is how I knew. Like in the beginning, when I started trying to get girls, it was all about like, oh, I gotta get this girl to like me. What is the right thing to text her? What is the right thing to say to get her to like me? All of that. And then once I became non-needy and whole, I didn't have to. I stopped having the tendency to want to try to be perfect, right? Try to say the right thing or do the right thing. It's like, no, I am the right thing. I am the right thing. Like I'm already whole, right? So anything I say is the right thing. End of story. And then it becomes more of like a take it or leave it kind of attitude. Like, this is who I am, right? This is my, this is how I express myself. If you like it, great. If you don't, then see you later, right? And that is the attitude that demonstrates that you are not needy, right? This, the bad boy attitude. I approve of myself, so I don't need anyone else to approve of me, right? And that's very attractive to a woman. I mean, as we know, the women tend to chase the bad boy, and as I said, the bad boy is not, it's not dressing cool or trying to be tough or any of that stuff. What it is being self-sufficient. It's the rebel. It's like, man, I don't need y'all to be happy. I don't need you to make me to love me or give me validation, etc. Right? And that's actually a very strong attitude, right? You can kind of go about it to an extreme way where you're like, you don't, you're like, okay, I'm self-sufficient, and it's like a revenge thing. Like, I'm self-sufficient and I'm not giving love to anyone. I'm not talking about that. It's more about, I'm self-sufficient to the point where I want to give love, right? So what happens is you create healthy relationships, right? And you come from this bigger perspective where you can see the truth. You can see the light. When you are needy, you're like limited in your perception, right? Because you're just seeing things through the lens of, I need this person. So you're not even seeing the reality of the person. You're just seeing an illusion, a fantasy. But when you become non-needy or whole, you start to see the true colors of a person, right? Because you're not looking at them like empty buckets. You're looking at them as a full buckets that maybe has so much water in it that it wants to give, right? And you can see people how they really are, as opposed to the fantasy. All right, so hopefully this makes sense to you, and you can see, if you want to become the type of guy that women are chasing down, they're running you down, well, be the opposite of needy, which is whole, which is fulfilled, passionate, driven, living a life of purpose, full of self-love, right? That is how you become the type of guy that gets chased by women. Okay? So if you'd like to learn my step-by-step formula for getting rid of your neediness and becoming a grounded, masculine man who can naturally and effortlessly attract beautiful women, private message me or comment masculine below. If you private message me, obviously we'll be in communication, and I'll give you some insight on how you can get rid of your neediness and become grounded in your masculinity. Or you could drop a comment below and I'll reach out to you and we'll have that conversation. All right. Thanks for watching. Peace.